Yo, what up, and welcome back to Pnoid News. Man, listen! It's fucking goddamn Thursday, all right? One more fucking day left after tonight, all right? One more goddamn day, all right? And it's time for the fucking weekend, all right? Legit, it's payday. You know the deal, man. Fucking steak and goddamn fucking beans, or I don't know, whatever the fuck y'all niggas be eating, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? The rest of the world, I'm gonna have me, you know what I'm saying, like a steak on the goddamn grill. I gotta fix my car this weekend. I got painting to do, man. Listen, I just got this crib. I'm trying, you know what I'm saying, fix it up, make it all proper and whatnot. I've been grinding, right? I've been grinding hard. I've been putting in like fucking 16-hour days on some nonsense and still putting out content. I don't want to hear niggas bitch about fucking they ain't got time to do things. Real shit. But today, I bring you a video from, you know what I'm saying, that Saagar Gupti nigga. I don't know what the fuck. Saagar, fuck, I have no idea. Yo, look, I'm be honest with you, all right? I think he's a grifter. I'm going to keep it 100 with you, all right? I don't buy his bullshit in the end of the day. I don't buy it in any way, shape, or form. I legitimately don't buy it. Like, yo, I think it's a grift. I'm going to keep it all the way funky with you. Like, it just is what it is, right? But like, yo, we're gonna watch this, and I'm gonna like stand here and point some stuff out, and we're gonna have a conversation about things because I think it's important. Let's rock.
As you know, every week we post a realignment clip here on the Breaking Points YouTube channel. We've got an awesome little clip and teaser for all of you today. But Marshall, if they want to see this full thing, where should they go?
You can click below, subscribe to the Realignments YouTube channel. This is also available on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, wherever you find your awesome content. Let's get right into the clip.
Corporate law also did another thing. It said that if you're on the board of directors of a corporation, the thing and the sole thing you're supposed to take into account is the pursuit of profit for those shareholders, maximizing profit or maximizing total return for shareholders. Now that's counterintuitive for a second. You're like, oh, aren't both of those gifts to shareholders? The answer is no, actually. One of those is a demand that society made on corporations to say that if we're going to make you so powerful with this special shield of limited liability, then you better stay, Frankenstein, in your cage downstairs in that basement, or else you're going to rove free and roam free on American terrain that you should not touch. And so to me, that was actually the explicit grand bargain at the birth of the corporation, that we don't want the Dutch East India Company in the United States, which had a military, it had its own coins, it had its own hospitals, it had its own schools through its philanthropy.
All right, y'all look. Right. Now, here's the thing, okay? In America, they never had a problem with this in the end of the day, right? You know what I mean? Because, like, though they, you know what I'm saying, most definitely started calling stuff indentured servitude, especially when it came to, like, having company stores and things of this nature, right? Basically, you know what I mean, like, yo, they used the practice of, you know what I mean, I forget what it's called, the monopolistic action, whatever it is, right? That they stood here and they'd break stuff apart, right? You know what I mean? They break apart companies and they had a monopoly over like a certain, you know what I mean, like area of everything, you know what I mean? And they didn't want companies getting to the point where they owned like cities. But on the same point, like, yo, let's be real, the Google and Apple campus out in California are basically, you know what I mean, like, yo, self-running cities. Right, like that just happens from, you know what I mean, like it is what it is, right? When a company gets to be to that point, you know what I'm saying, you get to the level of where like everything in there is basically owned by the company, right? And all the land and everything of this nature, right? But you know what I mean, like I understand what this dude's trying to like kind of portray as far as stuff's concerned, to where like corporations aren't supposed to have a stake in government, but at the same point, we have what's known as Citizens United, right, where corporations can have a say, you know what I mean? And basically they gave corporations personhood, right? And they're allowed to, you know what I mean, like spend freely on like, you know what I mean, political campaigns and things of this nature, right? So let's keep rocking.
Philanthropy, it was sort of a quasi state of its own time. And the American vision was, we don't want the Dutch East India Company here. We just want corporations that make things for people. That's great. Stay in your lane and leave the rest of us, be it the democracy or the church or any other, or the family, alone. So that's sort of the school of thought that I come from. And that's my critique, which is different than Milton Friedman's, which is that stakeholder capitalism makes companies less efficient. Okay, there might have been some truth to that. My critique is the opposite. I actually think that I don't worry about politics infecting capitalism. I worry about capitalism infecting politics.
Yeah. Let me set this up then, because I think this is really fascinating, especially when you read between the lines of what you're suggesting here. So I believe this was from your New York Post excerpt. We'll put all this in the show notes. You specifically operationalize the stepping outside of the basement part as companies taking stands. An example would be companies taking stands on social, cultural, political issues like outside of their direct thing. So my question for you is along two different lines. So one, what happens in situations where taking those political, social, cultural stands actually enhances shareholder value? So the example of this is just Nike and Colin Kaepernick. We live in a incredibly, not just bifurcated, but in America that's broken up into all these different markets, all these different niches. This isn't the 1950s. This isn't the 60s. You're not on NBC, ABC, CBS trying to sell to everyone. You're trying to say, hey, I work at Nike. We want to raise our margins. We're going to start selling to upper middle class, college educated to graduate school educated people who want to spend $200 on running shoes for a lifestyle purpose. Guess what? That market actually is very socially liberal. That market actually would say, hey, this brand that puts Colin Kaepernick on their big ad in Times Square is a brand that I want to associate with. A brand I would not want to associate, for example, could be, I think it was it was either New Balance or Reebok, which like random
New Balance, I think is what you meant. Yep.
Random like skinheads in England started associating themselves with New Balance. So people could be like, well, I don't want to wear that brand because it's unfashionable. No offense, New Balance. I really like your stuff. I've actually got.
I apologize for that. Slight silences for a second. Man, listen, I'm over here doing other things. Right. But, like as far as companies are concerned, like companies have always had targeted ad campaigns towards certain individuals, right? Like this kind of, I'll be real, like where this really started was in the car market, where, like they were like the Ford Bronco, the International Chief, the Jeep, right? Then they had like cars that, like they were literally selling the moonshiners and kids who were trying to hot rod, right? And there's always been kind of like a stance as far as socially is concerned. Like Henry Ford, believe it or not, was like, God, that dude's legit. Like people say, oh, he's based about the Jews or whatever, but like real shit, like, he used to stand here and like try to control how his workers lived and had people like go in and check their homes to see whether or not they were drinking, right? Like, he was not as cool as like a lot of individuals think he was. Like he was a piece of garbage in the end of the day, right? Like he was super controlling. Like he's like, oh, I'll pay you a good wage or whatever it is, right? But the whole thing about it was that you stood here and you had to like let somebody come into your house and dictate how you lived with your family, right? Like that's, you have to understand, like, companies have been on this level forever. It's just people are bitching about it now, right? Because of the fact that like, it seems like every company's moving towards the same direction, right? And the reality is like, in case you ain't noticed, like there are 3 brown people on stage, right? The reason why they're doing this and the reason why, like, I really think Saagar's a goddamn grifter, right? I think this dude is, in country music, there's these people called Georgia Florida Line, right? There's this group, right? And basically it's a group that they put together, right? There's a bunch of these out here, like boy bands, for instance, they put them all together. Like corporations stand here and they gather together individuals and they promote them to the masses because, they test well. And this is, I think, what Saagar is. I think he's somebody who tests well, right? And he's a brown face. So like companies are betting on the browning of America, right? Just through demographics. Like, at this point, American kids, like, or white kids are, Freudian slip, right? White kids are a minority in schools right now. So that means, in 10, 15 years, when these kids, start coming out of high school and having ability to work and spend money or coming out of college or whatever it is, they're going to be, ahead of the game as far as like what they're going to promote to individuals, right? They're going to be able to promote to the people who are already going to be there, who are more brown as far as stuff's really concerned, right? That's an important ideology to understand. But let's keep rocking.
I like stuff in the closet.
It's good brand.
The point is, though, what do you say to the
Yeah.
Nike executive who says, look, our shareholder value was enhanced by taking a stand because we are marketing to an America. Vivek, you're accusing us of dividing America when actually we're doing it in the exact reverse. There's a divided America that demands to be marketed to, that demands an identity from brands. So we're going to market to that.
You're hitting on a great point, Marshall. So, of course, no action is in a vacuum. There's a discursive effect. There's a dialectic. There's a relationship. There's feedback loops that are complicated. But I think the easiest way to start is maybe through some definitional clarity. At this point, actually having written a book on it, and even though I sometimes use the expression myself, woke capitalism, I have to admit I cringe every time when I sort of say it because, well, first
it's
of all,
the title of the book. So
the title of the book is Woke Incorporated. And I have to say that the word woke itself has had a bit of a journey. I actually think that there is a certain, at least intellectual coherence to examining pre-existing power structures, to critical theories all about.
All right, so let's have this basic conversation about things, right? Because I think it's important to understand that, like, I broke down a buddy's live stream about Ted Kaczynski, right? And Ted Kaczynski was a Unabomber for individuals who didn't know, and he actually was a writer, and he was like a mathematician out of MIT, and he had super accurate forecast about what was going to end up happening, and he broke down the power structures in America and the social movements and had an understanding of them greater than what I think anybody else has ever had, right? And basically what he said is that the universities and the powers that be that train kids in the schools, they have a controlled set of ideologies for individuals to protest against, right? It's like racism, homophobia, bigotry, war, these type of things, right? And it's like a standard set. It never changes, right? And this ideology, right, is super prevalent with anybody who came out of academia or anybody who's been in school and indoctrinated inside of this system, right? But it's super safe for the system, right? And the reason why it's safe for the system is because of the fact that when you don't have a culture, it promotes individuals to all be the same at work, right? So that therefore you can bring more people into production. You can bring more people into the system as a whole. And so like it's positive for the system. Now, whether morally or not that it's right, that's not the fucking point, right? The point is that when you promote this woke ideology, basically what you're doing is you're standing here and helping the system that you're trying to fight and you don't know it. And that's something that I don't think anybody legitimately like has a conversation about, because that's fucking crazy when you really think about it. You know what I mean? But let's keep rocking, because he's about to say some shit that's going to aggravate the fuck out of me.
Examining the prevailing power structures and revealing them for what they are. I think that there's a worthy endeavor there. That's not inherently pejorative, although it's taken on this inherently pejorative connotation on the right.
All right, so let's talk about this, right? Because like I think that's wrong as a whole, right? I think the ideology, right, that systems are racist are fucking retarded, okay? Let me explain this to you. I think people, yes, are more prone to get caught in a trap, right? In the way that if you want to trap rabbits, you put them on a rabbit trail, right? You know what I mean? And if you go to a place where it's snow covered 8 or 9 months out of the year, you're going to catch animals with thicker fur, right? Because like, those are the animals that live in that area. You know what I mean? Foxes, rabbits, shrews, whatever the case is, right? You will catch animals that have a thicker fur. And the problem is that our system catches, black people black males more than anyone else in the country, right? Because black males more than anyone else in this country have basically had the worst go of it of anybody, right? Like, fuck women, fuck transgender, fuck gays, fuck all that nonsense, right? Like, black men have had the worst go of it than anybody in this country. And the reason is because of the fact that they were on the rise and joining the middle class and had the rug ripped out from underneath of them. And then while they were doing, when the rug was ripped out underneath them through, deindustrialization, when, we stood here and shipped all of our jobs over to places like fucking China, right? And the rest of the country didn't care because they were living under this retarded ideology of Milton Friedman, right? Everybody said, well, why don't you climb up the fucking ladder, right, and become better? And the workers of the world, right, and it's not just black, like white people, poor white people have the same problem. Like, and this is something that a lot of motherfuckers really don't get, right, is that, white people poor white people have always been poor white people. There's always been like at least 60% of the white population who is stuck at the perpetual bottom of the rung, right? That's just a fact of life, right? Like the average take home in this country is like $38,000 and the poverty level is like 28. So if you're $10,000 above poverty and the average home price jumps 4 times in 10 years, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, so you have to understand that there's a lot of people who stuck on this bottom rung, and we just don't talk about it because all you see is Hollywood portraying, white people as being this suburban middle class who has more than they've ever had. When in reality, the vast majority of white people, live in a manner in which, would be absolutely normal for fucking black folks. It's just they don't pack themselves in like fucking sardines into a can in the city and then don't leave because that's what happened, right? And you got to compare the plight of, or the idea of racism to inflation, right? When you talk about like inflation, because this is like, I'm sorry, like I'm fucking going on and on about this because it's important though, right? All right. When you talk about inflation, right? When you talk about like money printing and things of this nature, right? And there's things that go up and you go, oh man, this is like, for instance, like the chip shortage, right? Which is causing, higher prices in something like automobiles, right? And you go, oh man, this is because the feds are printing money. You go, no, right? It's counted in inflation, but it's not, right? Like, there's a shortage because of, demand, right? That's not, inflation, right? And with racism, you go, oh man, the criminal justice system is terrible, and like it blocks up black people like crazy. And you go, well, can we have a conversation about child support, right? Can we have that conversation? Because like every black male who we've been bitching about getting shot, right, has had a child support case. You know what I'm saying? And we're on hard times. And every time you lose your job, right, and end up in a hard spot, and you have a child support case, they hunt you like a fucking animal, right? And you end up being pushed into the black market. And this is what happens in a lot of hoods. And this is where like most of the drug dealing, the negative activity, like for instance, if you leave jail with a child support debt, on average, you would go back to jail 4 more times. And it's just a normal thing. Like 90% of all drug offenders have child support cases. Can we have that conversation, right? But we don't want to talk about that. Right, because like that's that's an issue about family. That's an issue about how we stand here and conduct welfare. Can we talk about how like if if you're a male who lives in Section 8 as a child at 18 you have to leave or start paying rent, and you get thrown out and put on your ass without any ability to do anything for yourself? Can we have that conversation, right? And we can talk about how like that type of systemic poverty, which drives individuals down, that's not racism. It's not, right? It's sexism for sure, but we can't talk about that. We can't have that conversation at all, right? Because like then that goes against the narrative of women being victims, and women are the number 1 voter. See, this is what I'm saying, man. Listen, like, this is the problem. Legit, this is the shit that like, we don't want to have that conversation about in the end of the day. Right? That's the truth. That's the reality. And anytime you hear somebody standing here talking about racism, and I understand it takes a long time to break this down, and I'm sorry that it takes that long to break this shit the fuck down, but it just is what it is. And it's important to understand it's not racism, it's sexism. In the end of the day. And if you want to be successful in your corporation, 80% of all basic consumption comes from women. Men buy assets. Women consume. It's a difference, right? And you go, well, men make all this money, you know what I'm saying? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, and then you had to go, well, yeah, but men pay mortgages, right? Men buy stocks and equities, right? Men buy gold, men buy cars, men buy trucks, men buy shit that appreciates in value. You can say, like a car depreciates half its value the moment it leaves. Yeah, but on the same point, it allows you to work more, right? Most men don't go to the store to go buy, you know what I'm saying, like a new shirt just to go to like a party, right? You just don't do that. Like you go to the store, you buy a pack of shirts because that's what you need to go to work, right? Women buy clothes because like, they want to look good and they buy like expensive things and they buy name brands. Like most dudes, legitimately, they have no idea who made their fucking underwear, right? They have no idea who made their socks, right? They have no idea like really like who made most of their pants. Like dudes don't pay attention to this stuff. Women do though, right? And so that brand, you know what I'm saying, is going to be much more palatable to a woman. You know what I mean? When you stand here and you start having a political discussion and having these woke ideologies, and that's really where it's at, right? In the end of the day, like, so they're not, and this is the problem, is like, they're not aiming at us. And that's another conversation that we have to have. And this is why, like, there's so many things to talk about that we don't talk about. We don't have these conversations, right? We don't stand here and have any of these fucking conversations at all. Like, the NFL is getting woke. Why? Right? Why? It's the same reason why they have breast cancer awareness. They're not aiming at you. They're not aiming at the average NFL fan, right? They're not even aiming at the black NFL fans. Legitimately. Because the black NFL fans don't give a fuck about it either. They could never address shit and black dudes would still love the Giants and the Raiders. Right? Black dudes in Atlanta would still love the Falcons. Black dudes in Chicago would still love the motherfucking Bears. Which I feel bad for them about. Like, you guys got to pick a new team. Like, your team is trash. Right? Why? Why'd you fucking stick with Mitchell Trubisky? Like, why? Right? Like, legitimately. Like, I understand you brought in, some new blood recently. Like, why though, right? Why? I don't know. Maybe it's the fact you didn't have no targets and your offensive line is trash, like no running game. But I'm saying, right? Look, it's not aiming. This is what I'm saying, like, legitimately, right? Like, as football fans, they know the dudes are still going to be football fans. Whether or not they address any type of social issues. And when they address social issues, right, legit, dudes don't care. Right? Like, white dudes, like, get aggravated about it, right? It's like, keep your politics out of my fucking game. And I feel you. I'm on the same level. I'm like, bruh, shut the fuck up. I don't care. Right? But, like, everybody, like, every dude in the planet feels the same way when they start this cancer nonsense. We're like, I don't fucking care. Right? Legitimately. Like, are they going to adjust in the half? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to come out and, like, are they going to make some fucking adjustments? Like, what's the coach talking about? You know what I mean? Let me fucking see the stats. Like, how's my fantasy league doing? That's where dudes are. We got money on the game. We don't fucking care. And this is what you have to understand about woke ideologies, right? And there's something about Saagar, and this is why I fucking, like, legitimately, like, I don't trust the dude. I don't think he's an actual conservative. In the end of the day, I don't even think he's fucking right wing. When it comes down to it, I don't. In any way, shape, or form. Because he has a lot of lefty politics down pat. But there's not a one right-wing politic that he has that comes from any of the shit that we care about. Immigration, motherfucking shipping the jobs off, any of this stuff. He doesn't care about any of it. Right? Legit, but he got the left-wing ones all down pat. Let me keep it 100 with you. If you watch this motherfucker, watch how he moves, he's not real. Like, real, yo, look, this is going to be 25 minutes. It's just me ranting. Yo, fuck this video, man. Fuck these dudes. I don't care about them. Like, yo, I got a whole good-ass point out. Like, man, it is what it is. Like, yo, y'all know the deal. Yo, look, I got a Patreon link, you know what I'm saying, in the description. Like, yo, y'all should become patrons of this channel if you enjoy the content. You know what I mean? Like, yo, support your boy, man. Legit. You know what I mean? Like, yo, real talk. Like, yo, everybody else supports, like, AP and all these motherfuckers. Yo, support your boy. Like, real shit, man. Like, I make fucking awesome content, build niggas the fuck up, right? Like, I make a lot of people money. You know what I mean? I help y'all get y'all lives together. I keep motherfuckers on point, right? Yo, real shit. I knock motherfuckers in the head with their nonsense. I make your fucking favorite content creators better content creators. Yo, support your boy. Like, real shit, home. Like, yo, drop me a fucking Patreon donation. You know what I mean? I'll read you out on stream and motherfucking thank you and shit. Yo, Sunday, by the way, be around on fucking Sunday, dude. Like, real shit. We are doing a fucking live stream Sunday night. I'm thinking like 8 or 9 o'clock. Yo, we're going to be getting it the fuck in. I'm getting the squad together. We're going to be going ham. It's going to be a church session. It's going to be great. It is what it is. Anyway, yo, look. Y'all know what it's hitting for. This is Tom Pease with Pnoid News. Like, share, and subscribe, motherfuckers. Peace.